It's time for Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero. When it comes to news on 95.1 FM, weather always comes first. A powerful storm system to foster heavy rain and high wind potential over much of the eastern U.S. today. Severe weather and flash flood threats forecast in parts of the southeast and the upper Ohio Valley. High winds expected along with widespread moderate to heavy rain to impact the entire eastern seaboard into the Great Lakes tonight into tomorrow, while the west will see a warming trend. Closer to home, typical spring weather. Today's highs will be near seasonal averages, and tomorrow through Sunday, high temperatures are going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above average. We're going to see breezy to windy conditions every afternoon, beginning tomorrow through Sunday. The windiest day of the forecast looks to be on Monday, where we're going to likely see very windy conditions. We'll have another look at the weather following this news. New Mexico's Cannabis Control Division not only licenses marijuana retailers, but also makes sure businesses follow the state's cannabis rules. One retailer in Chaparral has agreed to pay and settle with the CCD after facing allegations of multiple violations. In 2023, the CCD sent a letter to High Valley Cannabis Company claiming they violated 6 rules and regulations. The alleged violations include allowing unauthorized cannabis consumption, an alleged lack of local permits, inaccurate sales and records, and so on. On April 8th, regulators approved a settlement with High Valley Cannabis Company, who agreed to pay $7,000 for the unauthorized consumption of cannabis on their premises. With the settlement, High Valley Cannabis Company can keep operating, but if they violate laws within the next 2 years, they may face an automatic $10,000 fine. The Smoky Bear Ranger District on the Lincoln National Forest will have a prescribed burn today and tomorrow. Crews will be focusing on around 500 acres within the 16 Springs prescribed burn project area. Officials expect smoke to be visible in and around 16 Springs, Mayhill, Cloudcroft, and Hope. Cancellations or schedule changes can occur on short notice if weather becomes an issue. This Saturday, advisor to Donald Trump, Tana Gertz, will be in southern New Mexico. I spoke with her about her visit.
I am canvassing the country, state by state, educating people that the time is now to wake up and be proud to be an American. And I'm thrilled that I've been invited to come back to New Mexico. I was out there in January and had a wonderful time in Ruidoso, had a wonderful reception. People received my message quite well, and 3 groups are wanting me back. So I'm coming to spread the good message of what actually people need to do in saving our country, really. And so my presentations are an hour long. I hold nothing back, and I give the peek behind the political curtain of working for Donald Trump not once, but twice.
Gertz will be in Hobbs, Roswell, Weed, and Alamogordo. You can see the Republican Party of Otero County Facebook page for details. Something really cool is happening at Oliver Lee Memorial State Park. Kate German gave us a call.
We've got a program coming up this weekend, Saturday, April 13th at 2 p.m. Live Birds of Prey will be here in the park. We've got New Mexico raptors that will be bringing us a turkey vulture, a great horned owl, and a red-tailed hawk.
Oliver Lee Memorial State Park is at 409 Dog Canyon Road, 505-660-7381. The Alamogordo White Sands Regional Airport is having an open house coming up. I spoke with Luke.
So the airport open house will be Saturday, April 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The EAA Ford Tri-Motor Tour is bringing their 1929 Ford Tri-Motor plane, and you can book your flight on flytheford.org.
The open house itself is free to attend. Check out the City of Alamogordo Facebook page for details. The Republican Party of Otero County presents the Taxpayers Ball, that's spelled B-A-W-L. Vice Chair Josh Beasley had this to say.
We have a huge event coming up on April 13th. We're calling it the Taxpayers Ball, as in crying ball. And we are going to have a guest speaker, former advisor, senior advisor to President Trump. Tana Gertz is going to be our keynote speaker, and we're going to have a chili cook-off. Bring in your best chili, and whoever's voted the best chili, they get a great prize. And we're going to do a cake auction as well. Whoever's cake goes for the highest price, they're going to get a prize as well. We got some great prizes lined up. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be April 13th, starting at 4 p.m. at the Elks Lodge.
For more information, check out the Republican Party of Otero County Facebook page. Well, today is Thursday. Time for an inspirational moment from our good friend, Pastor Lauren Noble.
Good morning, 95.1 listeners. This is Pastor Lauren with our Thursday Thought. I was talking to someone the other day, and he said he did not understand how people way back in the early centuries could worship an idol. So I said, do you mean like we do? We do not have a golden calf, but we try to mold and manipulate God into who we want politically, a God who agrees with our beliefs on sexuality and other issues, a God who thinks like us, and a God who agrees with us, and a God that we want to be, which is a form of idolatry, try to mold him into who he is not. But no, we do not have a golden calf, but we certainly are guilty of idolatry. And when God told Moses, I am who I am, he meant you cannot understand me, you cannot understand my ways, you cannot confine me into humanity and their way of thinking. I am way bigger than that, because I am who I am, and you can't make me into who you want me to be. Let me say a prayer for us. Lord, help us to try not to confine you to our thinking and our ideals, but remember that you are who you are and who we are not, because that is the important thing. We cannot mold you into who we want you to be and form a God that we like, because you are who you are, and that is who you will always be. Amen. Until we meet up again on the airwaves, blessings to you.
News from around the state in just a moment. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
Local news from local perspectives, from local voices. AlamogordoTownNews.com. Local sports, local events, and local happenings, and more. Owned and operated by Second Life Media. We are Otero County. AlamogordoTownNews.com. Heard daily on Crazy KALH Radio 95.1.
Directory Plus is the right size book. It's the book if you need a phone book.
That's what just one person has to say about Directory Plus. With its red cover, features, colorful yellow pages, and lots more, it's no wonder people all over use Directory Plus.
It has so much more information. You can cross-check phone numbers or addresses or pretty much anything.
Look on the plus side, Directory Plus.
I'm a big fan of Directory Plus.
Benjamin Warren Corsi III of Las Cruces is being charged with 1 count of attempted homicide by a vehicle, 5 counts of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon on a household member, 2 counts of battery on a household member, and 1 count of aggravated battery against a household member via strangulation. Las Cruces police say Corsi and his partner of 20 years, Martin Lynn Walker, got into an argument at Walker's mother's home. Documents say the 2 men left the home and the argument continued in Corsi's truck when Corsi began to accuse Walker of cheating. Walker stated Corsi stopped the truck in the middle of the street and began to beat him, strangle him, and then bit his hands. Corsi began to hit Walker with his cane and a large chain with a lock. Walker then hit Corsi with his prosthetic leg in self-defense. Corsi accelerated the truck and told Walker he was going to crash the truck and kill them both. Police found the truck 50 feet below in a ditch from a bridge. After the crash, Corsi kicked Walker out of the truck and began to strike Walker with the chain and lock before he used Walker's own prosthetic leg to beat him. Corsi had a different story. He told police Walker began to hit him and beat him with his hands, cane, and chain with a lock, and then struck him with the prosthetic leg. Corsi told police Walker grabbed the steering wheel, and that resulted in the crash. However, Corsi's injuries did not match his statements, but Walker's injuries matched his. Both were taken to the hospital for their injuries. Corsi was then released from the hospital. You know, it's been a year since New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham created a Council of Child Welfare Professionals intended to share insight and recommend policy changes to improve the many problems within the state's Children, Youth, and Families Department.
This blueprint, the $500,000 that we put in our budget, is a direct result, right, of the behavioral health specialists, the foster family specialists, any number of folks whose idea is we should do a blueprint for overall child well-being using the whole of government. And that will happen now in the spring and summer.
When you think of things like kids sleeping in state office buildings or children dying after CYFD intervention, you have to ask, has anything changed? Barbara Yeel runs the nonprofit Lighthouse Foster and Adoption Support Center in Roswell. She spoke with KRQE to help answer that question.
This policy council that I'm on is full of wonderful people with wonderful ideas, and we have all shared our ideas so many times. And the people who are supposed to be listening and making the decisions have not done a single thing that we have suggested.
KRQE then asked the governor what the council has accomplished.
The fact that we're making sure that contracting with foster parents, doing the training, engaging in any number of other activities, including making sure that we're catching up on protective services, doing the forensic work to understand what those problems are. All of that got supported by the advisory council.
The governor then spent the next minute and a half listing goals for COIFD. But when confronted if these were specific to the council...
The council's job isn't to... What do you think the advisory council would do?
Odd question coming from the person who created the council, don't you think? The governor was told by KRQE that some council members feel they are not being heard, their emails are going to junk, and nothing that they are suggesting regarding kids sleeping in office spaces are being addressed.
I disagree.
Of course she does. What she doesn't do is explain herself. But she did say this.
And if we get an individual that feels that way, we'll do more for that individual.
That sounds rather ominous.
One individual doesn't get to micromanage a department.
No, she leaves that for herself.
And not every piece of advice is taken by every legislator, everyone.
A spokesman for the CYFD states that the secretary told lawmakers to expect a report within the next few months. But when pressed for an exact date, the spokesman stated that the advisory council partners with the department, providing support to revise and update the policies and procedures. These finalized policies will be available on the department website and will be shared with legislators in a spirit of cooperation because there is no requirement for this advisory council to produce a report of any kind. That's the quote, folks. So basically, the department said nothing. So if the council has no voice, no changes have been implemented, and CYFD remains on the status quo, then what exactly is the point of CYFD's Policy Advisory Council? You can see this full report on krqe.com. Students from Dexter High School were taught a valuable lesson about car crashes caused by someone under the influence of drugs or alcohol by witnessing a staged crash scene. Every 15 minutes is a program that allows students to go through the process in staged scenes of what happens if you drive while intoxicated and whether you make it out alive or not. They begin the day with a staged crash scene, followed by a mock trial in court, and then a funeral. Joey Lopez, a speaker for Every 15 Minutes, spoke with KOB.
I was actually involved in an accident that had to do with drinking and driving. I was a driver, and my best friend ended up passing away. I wanted to share my experience to hopefully prevent someone or a group of friends from experiencing what I experienced.
He hopes this will make young people think about every time they get behind the wheel.
I think that when we're young, well, even, older people, sometimes, including myself, we think, oh, this can't happen to me. Or we think it's just a ticket, but that's the best situation, is that we get a ticket. But these things do happen, and every choice we make affects other people around us as well.
Sadly, but not surprisingly, studies that have tracked students before and after the Every 15 Minutes program have revealed that the program may have a favorable short-term effect on students' stated attitudes, but no actual effect on behavior. Sports and weather are next. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
They are role models and educators. Their work requires a great deal of time and energy for very little pay. Who are these unsung heroes?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
The simple truth about education-based athletics in New Mexico is this. Without a committed team of coaches and administrators, that just wouldn't be possible. School sports, they bring out the best in all of us. This message presented by the New Mexico Activities Association and the New Mexico Athletic Directors Association.
There are 24 games for New Mexico softball today, including Ruidoso at Tucumcari. 17 games for New Mexico baseball, including Estancia at Capitan. Your Crazy Radio spot-on weather forecast for the Tularosa Basin today calls for sunny skies, mostly clear tonight, mostly sunny tomorrow, winds gusting as high as 25 miles per hour. Your high today in the basin, 76, low tonight of 52, high tomorrow, 84 degrees. In Cloudcroft, sunny skies, winds gusting as high as 20 miles per hour today, mostly clear tonight, winds gusting as high as 18, mostly sunny tomorrow, winds gusting as high as 31. Your high today in Cloudcroft, 54, low tonight of 39, high tomorrow, 60 degrees. Local breaking news can be found on our website, alamogordotownnews.com, and learn more about Crazy Radio by visiting kalhradio.org. Also, check out the Crazy KALH Radio YouTube channel. That's where we post our daily newscasts, complete interviews, and other information which concerns everyone in the Tularosa Basin. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if you've not done so already. That way you too can remain informed of the goings-on in the Tularosa Basin. That concludes today's edition of Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.